What's happening? Benton here. 4:28 in the a.m. What is today? Wednesday, I think. Indeed, indeed. Oh, that's me. Ha ha. How about you? It's the Versa back there somewhere, right? Doxing itself. We'll wait for some. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Wait for some folks to get in here, right? All 115, 510, 115, baby. Shit. Weight is falling off of me, but we had Primal Jihad, aka what was some Aryan Brotherhood name? What was it? Something about Anglo Elite. He seems like a good dude, man. Like, and he watches me, so you know. What's up, Burn Eye? Yeah, this dude, Anglo Elite, aka Primal Jihad, he watches me, so can't be all bad, right? But the main thing I wanted to talk about, what's happening, brother? The first thing I wanted to talk about was this Oliver Anthony, whatever this horrible fucking song is, something about rich men of Richmond or something. And this is where I really become annoyed with the conservative MAGA type, is that most of them have absolutely no appreciation for proper, decent music, right? And what I mean by that is it's not a taste or a preference. I'm talking about the actual like quality and composition of the music, as well as the singing, the way it sounds. Benton was blessed / cursed with perfect pitch, meaning when I listen to music, I immediately know if the shit is on the proper pitch or not. Now, maybe AI wrote that song, I don't know, but it sounds like trash. I'm just going to assume the lyrics are trash, because I couldn't make it very far into that song. Why? With the perfect pitch, as I'm listening, I'm like, oh, this is ass. This is fucking terrible. Meanwhile, I remember there was some kind of Trump rally, and they had Ted Nugent play the national anthem on his guitar. And I tried to listen to it. I said, this is terrible. Meanwhile, these conservatives think it's great. Same thing with this Oliver Anthony. They actually think that's a good song. But then turn on what passes for country music these days, and it's not even songs. If you listen to the lyrics, it's prose set to a twang, and somebody sings it. Terrible. This is not music, man. So on my community tab, I put out a post linking to an Everlast song from over 10 years ago. Oh, but people will laugh and say, oh, Everlast, the House of Pain guy, jump around. Man, Everlast, some of his worst fucking songs are way better than this Oliver Anthony bozo, who's going to have no career whatsoever. This man will not have a career. Everlast been around since dropped his first album in 1990, still putting out albums. It's crazy. What's up, Slow Boy? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm just a hater. That's right. Sing better than Oliver Anthony? So because I personally can't put out better music, no, that song is terrible. What I can or can't do musically has nothing to do with that song being ass. I mean, it makes no sense. But Burn Eye has not really ever demonstrated proper logic that I've seen. So, same thing with that bozo yesterday, who I do like because he likes me, right? That is it shows proper taste. But then again, who knows what that guy's motivations are. We thought he was tinfoil, aka TBE, for a while. What's up, Music Holds a Secret? And then, that song being trash really isn't the issue. It's that like 3 different people either were typing the name of it and then adding me in some live chat, or I had somebody that I know personally email it to me, for God's sakes. Like people don't even know me, some of you. If you think that's the kind of shit I'm trying to listen to, get the fuck out, man. But again, it really shows that these MAGA bozos, these are rule followers. So, the notion that this song is like, good morning, Music Cold Secret. The notion that this song is like filling people up with certain emotion. To me, I view it as just a way to sort of vent their frustrations, but to no effect. Meanwhile, apologies for that. For some reason, my phone in this town, it switches from 4G to 5G. It switches towers just randomly. Every time it does that, I get dropped off a StreamYard. Man, if I had it to do over again, 4G phone, I would not even fuck with a 5G. This is crazy. Yeah, it's literally the 5G going to the 4G or vice versa. And I'm just looking at the thing like, really, really, does it every time? Yeah. So because it has a certain theme, this song, I have to pretend like it's good music. It's like, no, we have music theory. I have perfect pitch as far as my hearing. I can tell when a song sucks. That song is trash at the level of music. Oh, but it's discussing certain themes. Okay, let me find a song that's actually good with similar themes, and it's on my community tab. And it came out in 2011. Yeah, and it has like 8 million views, 8 million plays or whatever. It's nuts, man. Yeah, some of it's decent. Musical's a secret. I can't stand most current music. It's like anything else, sort of picking through what's out there. If you know any young people, that can be helpful to ask them. A young person with decent taste. That's how I found the Shins. Of course, even that's older music, right? I guess those guys are old now. That's how fucking old I am. I'm trying to talk about modern music. Let me think of something that's actually coming out these days. I like rap and hip hop. So this BLP Kosher. You guys seen this dude? If you go to YouTube and type in BLP Kosher, Jew on the Canoe. I think that's a pretty good song. It's in the modern style, so it could certainly be a turnoff. Again, that's rap. Rap, 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 rap. As far as just somebody playing like rock and roll or some kind of singer songwriter, I haven't seen too much. I haven't run into too much, but I don't expect to. But I'm also not resistant. I like Lil Peep. Again, how many years ago did Lil Peep pass away? But I like some of his stuff. Even that XXX Tentacion or whatever was halfway decent. But it's like same thing with the BLP Kosher. Some of the songs are terrible. I just don't listen to them, right? And then there's the generation gap. But fucking Oliver Anthony, and just look at the guy, some slob, some complete fucking slob, right? I mean, what the fuck? Just look at the dude. Trash. I mean, this is who's gonna save America, and it's this idea that, oh well, weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men. Well, we're gonna have to wait a couple of generations because if that's the strong men, we in trouble, partner. He don't even look like he can hump with a ruck. Benton 115 pounds, probably out ruck marching. Feel me? Catch up on the comments. Yeah, Burn Eye trying to give me the business. It's not music from the soul. It's probably AI. It's probably composed by AI. It's not. The fact that y'all can't tell that's not music from the soul is a bad sign of where. And I don't mean y'all like the audience. I mean people. Anybody who resonates with that song, that's a bad sign. If that's connecting with something in your soul, I mean, is really, really? I find this hard to believe. I find it very hard to believe. And you know, I haven't even really checked out the lyrics, but I'm assuming on some level it's at least implying that things, you know, the ship will be righted at some point and that the people will rise up. Oh yeah, the rule followers are going to rise up. And then it, you know, you got the whole Trump thing, which I hate to even talk about Trump, but yeah, if Trump uh, if Trump orders these bozos to go out in the real world and do some shit, they might actually do it. Some of them. Short of that, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Gingerbread doughboy. I like that. Yeah, Oliver Anthony, the gingerbread doughboy. Dude, what a joke. What a joke. But then go look at Everlast of the same age. Like, how old is this dude? 25? Go look at a 25-year-old Everlast. Looks, I whoop your ass, partner. And then we got the gingerbread doughboy. It's laughable. How? I guess I'm walking down to Walmart. It don't open for an hour and 20. But with the car, the clutch needing replacement and such, probably don't need to be driving. I mean, I could, but I wanted to walk around and talk with y'all. I had some stuff on my mind. Right? Gingerbread doughboy. I love it. Fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to buy a 4G phone. I'm on the 4G right now. It works great. Here in a minute, it's going to switch to 5G. Fucker's going to drop. It's not the 5G. If it would just stay on 5G, it'd be fine. It's the back and forth. Gingerbread doughboy. Anything on y'all's mind? Appreciate 13 hanging out. Yeah, did I go in on oh yeah, all the food stuff, right? And it's like, hey man, eat animals, you know, eat the, well, they say, you know, raw carnivore and all this. And look, people that, you know, I did damn near 2 years on ribeye steak and eggs. Yeah, that's great. I'm not even talking about that. That's not what we mean when we say like raw carnivore. They're talking about the entire animal, like slaughtering, butchering, and consuming either raw, the meat either raw and then fermenting some of it, meaning allowing it to rot. No bullshit. Eating the organs, you know, the connective tissue, the fat, the bone marrow. We're talking about the whole animal. And they're not talking about steaks, even if you get it at your farmer's market, even if you find some local person, you know. I think, shout out to Big L, I think he was buying like, what do they call that? Sides of beef, you know? Yeah, there you go. It's not raw carnivore, exactly. Now, and I've talked about this before, clearly, you know, for somebody who is able to get the nutrients out of the food, especially people with specific issues, yeah, ribeye steak and eggs can be fantastic, or just ribeye steak by itself. Yeah, wonderful. Pretty sure that ain't going to cure me, partner. Pretty sure. But, you know, maybe one day, instead of these bozos who want to just tell me I'm doing everything wrong, by the way, and you know, that guy had an answer for everything I said. Everything I was saying was clear, coherent, and logical. This immediate response, you know. And it's like, oh, Benton's a heretic. And then when I said I did you know, I did steak and eggs, ribeye steak and eggs for 2 years. Well, I even did that wrong, according to him. I did the ribeye steak and eggs wrong, because then he wants to troubleshoot that. So apparently there's one specific way to eat these items, and anything short of that 100% perfect means Benton ends up at 115 pounds. And then the idea was like, okay, well, if what this guy's saying is true, why is the general public all overweight and I'm 115 pounds? Because he's implying it's the food supply itself that's making me 115 pounds. Like, well, no, clearly this can't be true. And then the whole thing with the cars, that guy from the cars that died of pancreatic cancer, I'm like, hey, I bet this dude had access to the best nutrition and the best doctors available, right? Oh, well, doctors, they just do this and do that. I said, yeah, man, you don't think rich people can find a fucking doctor who will properly treat them? Like, what are we even talking about? Money talks, Jack. Just I can't, I can't deal with some of these people and their mentality. And it's not my job to crawl in their brains and settle their hash. That's not my job. Figure it out, bozo. What's up, Mike? I used to know how to say your last name. I can barely see it. But what's up, man? Good to see you. And then the idea that somebody could possibly care about me and my health more than I do, right? Like, and then I think that does speak to like a certain, I don't know what some of these people have going on inside themselves, but it's like, let's just use logic. Clearly, I care about my own self and my own health more than any of you folks could. Like, it's not possible. And I would say if somehow somebody manages to care about me more than I care about me, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Meanwhile, like I said, I'm trying to stay here forever. And then I think we also get back to the denial of death. And I believe this is something O'Shea was wanting to talk about. And I'd like to mention that book to him, the idea that the populace, the masses, they collectively seem to be existing in a state where they understand logically, and rationally in their conscious mind that, yeah, they will pass away, but that this life will end at some point. But deep down, they seem to fantasize or somehow believe that, in fact, this incarnation will continue forever. And I think that was a big part of the fake pandemic, where I think these people really believed, as long as me and my loved ones don't catch this plague, so-called, then we're going to live forever. And I think that really played into the hysteria. Versus Benton, who's understood for a very long time that he's going to pass away. And, I did live my life for many years while I was simultaneously dealing with my issues, killing multiple birds with one stone. I loved that lifestyle while I was living it. I had maximum, and then as a teenager, maximum fun. I've had a fucking great life, man. Does it really just need to keep going and going and going? I'm on this is like my fourth or fifth life in this life. Why keep doing this? Here anyway. I just don't get it. I legitimately don't understand. And then let's just say that some of these folks, their views and thoughts and ideas diverge from mine. Great, that's fine. From mine, great, that's fine. What is this need to sort of put me in my place, settle my hash, and get me to fall in line, which is impossible. Indomitable, volatile, loose cannon. You can't now you can try to put the indomitable, volatile, loose cannon in its place. Good luck with that. See how long that lasts. And I think it's something about that where, it seems to me like there's a lot of people who can detect that's in there. They can detect that within me, and they're hell bound to bring it out, no matter what. It's like they know it's in there, and they're gonna keep pushing until they get it to come to the surface. Yeah. Why? For what? For what? Yeah, people just want to tell other people what to do, what to think, how to eat. It's a control thing. Yes, music holds a secret. I agree. However, I think one of the key points is it has nothing to do with me, because they don't actually care about me. I just don't believe, you'll never convince me that the majority, that really, realistically, any of these folks give a flying fuck about old Benton, the ones who are trying to impose certain control mechanisms and viewpoints and behaviors onto me. I think it's something about them. It's an insecurity within them and a lack of controlling their own internal space, if I could borrow something that Paul says, although certainly he did not coin the phrase. He certainly seems to be popularizing it in these circles, but I mean, come on, man. And it's so simple, basic, and obvious. It's just, I guess I shouldn't be astonished. But meanwhile, I've been saying this for years now, and Drew also, that, dude, the so-called truth community is just as heavily programmed as the general population. It's just different. It manifests differently, but they are just as heavily programmed, just as brainwashed with psychologies that are necessarily a part of this system, period, end of story. And then no better way to observe that than this bozo Oliver Anthony trash song. It sucks. That song sucks. Just like this modern country where somebody writes a story and then some other bozo sings the story, but with a catchy hook or whatever. It's like, and I'm listening to this, and my brain is like making a transcript. I'm like, oh, this is prose. Like, this isn't even a song, man. This guy's singing a short story to me. Great. Great, with a twang. Yeah. But then people have, and then I think this is also what you see with some of the CBO crew, is these people who are unable to contend with and integrate their shadow selves back to the control, by the way. So control me and distract yourselves from, not you, but they can try to control me, thus dissipating their energies and maybe ineffectively dealing with whatever angst and trepidation is going on within them about the state of the realm. Fuck the realm, man. I ain't from here. I don't know. I'm not even barely identified with this place anymore. This is not my home. I ain't from here. No matter what happens, I ain't staying here. So go out here and remake the dystopia in your own fucking image. Who cares? It ain't going to amount to a motherfucking hill of beans. Partner. Oh, but there's a song by some gingerbread doughboy, and now the emotions and the fucking American greatest country on earth. Horse shit, by the way. How many you been to? Come on now. All that nonsense, the nationalism, and then the Trump. Of course, I know it's all tied to the Trump. You think this is a coincidence that this song is peaking right now, and their big hero is under fake attack, by the way. Under fake attack. None of it's real, but they're feeling some type of way about their boy Donnie boy, supposedly being persecuted or whatever. Nonsense, trash. I ain't here for it. And I detected it, man, when I first found this so-called truth community. Half of them was Trumpers, whether closeted or openly. At minimum 50% Trumpers. So imagine learning about conspiracies, learning about the left-right paradigm, studying everything there is to know about this so-called terrorist attacks of September 11th of 2001. Imagine putting all that knowledge in one's brain and then falling for the fucking psyop of Trump and actually believing there was a blue blood billionaire from Manhattan loves you and cares about the common man, especially Southerners. And at a certain point, I was like, bro, he's a Yankee. Like, when did Southerners start putting their trust in you? I can't even think of a Yankee. JFK, where the hell's he from? I mean, seriously, what Yankee have Southerners ever, propped up to this degree? Which shows, again, the heavy programming. And the AI, or whatever you want to call it, the system is just propagating all these ideas. And these people who really ought to know better just fall for it, hook, line, and sinker every time, and can't see what's actually happening. Lack of discernment and delusional and in denial. Why? Because so closely identified with this realm, so closely identified with America and American exceptionalism, MAGA, mom, apple pie, the whole fucking thing, such that they're in their feelers about the reality that, it's Benito Mussolini's helicopter hand. It's the boardroom scene from Network. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There's only fucking DuPont, AT&T, and all these other corporations that were listed in that movie, right? That was 1976. It's 2023, and these bozos can't figure. They're never gonna figure it out. Never. Never gonna happen. Well, I ain't joining them in their worship of these things. It's sick. It's sick. And meanwhile, I'm not out here externalizing and trying to control these people and show them the error of their ways. Most of the time, I'm not saying anything about it. Most of the time. But then eventually it's like, okay, this is too much. I got to speak on this, especially with people sending me this song and I click on it and I'm immediately like, oh, this is terrible. Like, dude, you remember that old show, Name That Tune or whatever? Like I could name that tune in one fucking note. Well, I got 3 notes in and I was like, this is trash. Seriously. Oh, this is trash. This is garbage. Yeah. Anybody who thinks that song is a good song musically does not understand music. Am I right? Music holds a secret. Now, don't. If I'm wrong, let me know. I don't want to be placated to. But just as a song, forget about the theme. Taking in the person's voice and ability to actually perform, taking in the song, the music as composed. It's trash. Yep, people need a leader. You're right. They do. You're right. No, they want to be led. They would prefer to be led by something outside of themselves, even if whatever that is obviously or should obviously just be, it's like, oh, this can't possibly be the thing here. This Donald Trump, this is the way out. There is no way out. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. And I was happy to just sort of ignore it, but I really can't. This song, I can't ignore it because I know it's just going to keep on with the momentum and people talking about it and bringing it up in these chats, and it just reveals something about them and their it's the same type of people who could hear be at a Trump rally and hear Ted Nugent playing the national anthem on his guitar and think that's good somehow. Well, just the fact that it's Ted Nugent and he talks about guns and Donald Trump's having a rally doesn't mean that that's a good performance of music. It has nothing to do with anything. The fact that maybe a certain emotion stirred within a person based on that song, that doesn't mean that it's proper music. There's such a thing as objectivity with respect to music. Like we can listen to certain compositions and say, well, this is clearly better than that. Now, someone can say, well, I enjoy this song. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't make it a good song. I like Buffalo Stance by Nina Cherry. Doesn't make it a good fucking song, man. Like, for real. There's a lot of songs that I like that are trash. I just like the song. But I understand it's trash. Just because I'm amused by it doesn't make it good. Yep. Trump, Jesus. That's right. Trump, Jesus, boss. Yep. You're right. And as someone who, arguably has some leadership skills, I'm not trying to go out here and see who I can follow. Let me go out here and see which one of these train wreck bozos I can follow. Why? For what? I don't get it. You guys are going to have to explain it to me. Young was a demonic pedo. That's right. Well, see, yeah, now that, and then see, we're in the age of no ideas, because the reality is any idea that I say out of my mouth, seemingly, we'll just attach that to a human being, and now it's discredited. Well, let me tell you this. Shit, I forgot one of my famous aphorisms. I'll have to think about it. I have a famous aphorism about that. But what Young did or didn't do in his personal life has nothing to do with the validity or lack thereof of that concept. Like, it hasn't, they're not connected. But you see, this is anti-intellectualism. It's, we don't want to think about, well, it is musically, it's trash. I enjoy it. But my point being that, it's a way to not have to consider the idea, especially a human being that does have something that maybe it's just more convenient to refer to as a shadow self, right? And it's obviously, most folks have not faced and contended with theirs. And it's a very difficult, arduous, disorienting process. I know, because I've undergone it for the most part and completed it for the most part. And it's helped me a great deal. And I can see in a lot of folks that they haven't, which is why they're falling for a lot of this bullshit and having a lot of problems. But oh well. And again, see, slow boy. Now we're back to the thing about Bill Maher. Yeah, you can point out that Bill Maher probably has done things in his personal life to rise to a certain level. You can say that about Carl Jung. Guess what? That all applies to all of them. So now what people are attempting to do is I'm no longer permitted. See, this is authoritarianism, by the way. This is communism, because now I'm literally no longer allowed to refer to any famous person because, oh, well, they're the P word. Guess what? Oliver Anthony, if he's going to have any kind of career, same thing. Do you really think that the algorithm and all of this, it just blew this song up out of nowhere based on what? That he's a good old boy, never meaning no harm? Well, guess what? If he gets rich off this, he's doing the same shit, or at least to some level. Oh, but guess what? We like his ideas. We like how we feel when he sings. So he can't be doing anything in his personal life. He can't be compromised. Oh, but Carl Jung's a J, and he wrote about psychology, so he's a P. Oh, Bill Maher, we don't like the sound of his voice, so he's a P. Oh, but Donald Trump, on the flight logs, oh, well, he's just this or that or the other excuse. See, we're picking and choosing, y'all. It's literally all of them. All of them. But I can't refer to an idea from Carl Jung because we got to point out that he's a P. It's ridiculous. It's laughable. It's lazy. And it's anti-intellectual. And this channel, if it's about anything, is about thoughts and ideas and concepts. I don't give a flying fuck what fallible piece of garbage human being you can attach that idea from or to. It cannot negate the validity of the ideas. You know, it can't. It's not possible. But people don't understand that because they have a feeling. See, it's not about the idea. It's not about the logic. It's about how they feel about the idea. It's about how they feel about the logic. Well, fuck your feelings. That's your problem. And I ain't here for it. Hey, what's up, noobs? Nuba? Sorry. What's up, Nuba? People have no concept of self. Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but it's good stuff regardless. Got a damn whole hour before Walmart. Well, the stream will be ending in about 6 a.m. Unless I just keep going at it, keep it going in the Walmart. I don't know. Can I get in there and get out before they tell me to fuck off and actually get my? I've done it before, actually. Maybe I will be able to. Yeah. I don't know if y'all know this. Supposedly, they claim the AI can predict what will be a hit song now. I don't know if you're aware of that. And I guess the AI is probably already writing hit songs and probably has been for quite some time. So I'm just assuming this, the Oliver Anthony thing is the same. And, you know, we can criticize the lefties, you know, rightly in many ways, but they don't fall for this whatever this Americanism and this, you know, I don't even really have the words for it, but whatever comes out of it, a song like this Oliver Anthony, point me to one thing that's ever come out of any of it. I can't think of one change that's been made. I can't think of one improvement that's happened as a result of some movement coming out of a song like this. Where is it? Show it to me. It's not going to happen. Oh, but now people's feelings are placated. Now people feel like something's going to be done, while at the same time, the dystopia, the authoritarianism, the communism just marches forward unabated. And the people who love that song continue. Most of them sent their kids to schools and masked their kids. Most of them that like that song. But they claim, but they talk about being anti-mask, anti-jab, anti-lockdown. But they lock down. A lot of them jabbed. Whether we want to face it or not, a lot of them jabbed. Some of them jabbed their kids, And a lot of them sent their kids to school in a mask, public school. So right now, a lot of people resonate with this song, got children going to public school and a damn rainbow flag on the classroom wall, and the kids getting indoctrinated by literal communists, letting the enemy indoctrinate their children. Oh, but this song lets them feel some type of way. Maybe that's to deal with all those feelings that are deep down they're not facing, right? That they're repressing because they're not facing the reality of what a piece of trash they are based on their own, the way they live, and the fact that what happened during the fake pandemic, and that, yeah, people rolled over to it. Guess what? So-called conservatives rolled right the fuck over too. Yeah, did they bitch and moan and complain to some extent? Sure, of course. So what? So what? What does that do? Oh my God, we're complaining. Well, I guess this is this broadcast, right? It's what I'm doing. Well, none of this is going to amount to a hill of beans, except we, us, whatever that is, whoever's watching this thing, we are going to deal with our social isolation. Yeah, I think at the bottom line, that's what this is all about. I think most of us, some of us, have a network of people in our lives or whatever, but most of us really don't have anybody to talk to or listen to, or certainly can't talk about any of these topics with people in our real life for the most part. Or let's say we're blessed enough to have people like that in our life. Everybody's too fucking busy. Everybody's too fucking busy. You know, you text with them every once in a while. Oh, send links back and forth to each other. Send fucking TikTok videos and just YouTube videos back and forth. I'm not interested, man. I don't want to, you know, with some exceptions, right? You know, I may have one or two people that send me stuff like on my actual phone that have my phone number. That's different. I'm just saying this, you know, as far as I can tell, most people, whatever their friends are, they're just sending each other links back and forth on text. It's like, what does that do? I don't get it. What is this? Thank you, Fake the Funk. Yes, exactly. So these people are trash, most of them, based on their own actions. But then they've been indoctrinated, by the way. And dude, this right-wing Republican, American exceptionalism, mom and apple pie, and all this MAGA, dude, that's ideology and brainwashing and mind control, just like the rest of it. And in fact, you know, we can talk about Carl Jung being a P or whatever, that's fine. But the reality is, you know, Edward Bernays or, you know, whatever, you know, if there's a discrete being that represents, you know, pure evil, whatever you want to say, man, you know, if we talk in the context of a spiritual war, whatever that intelligence is, that evil intelligence, it knows us better than we know ourselves. It's using our tendencies against us. So my research indicates that you can separate pretty much everybody in this country into left or right, and that's almost entirely based on how easily they can experience feelings of disgust. And it's more or less natural, born into us, although apparently there are some like, you know, environmental or, you know, the way we're raised, the way we're socialized can play in. But the people who skew the most conservative are typically the most disgusted by various things. I mean, like a revulsion, a feeling of revulsion. And the people who are the most lefty, they don't have that. So of course, the freaks can run around being freaks, and they're not disgusted by their own freakishness. Meanwhile, the people on the really far right with the very sensitive, you know, disgust, they, you know, can barely look at it. Well, so what? Once I know that about myself, what now? Oh, well, instead of working on me and learning to accept certain things that I can't control, by the way, the serenity prayer, instead of doing that, let me go out here and waste a bunch of energy trying to make this dystopia over in a way that would better suit me while I'm here. That's nuts, man. It's a sign of somebody who's not able to think for themselves. Shout out to Yurt, who says something I've said. You know, that's what I would want for people is to think for themselves. Well, I don't know why I walked back here with this loud ass truck. That's crazy, man. Why is that truck so loud? Bizarre. Let me get past this. Hang on. Hey, here comes my favorite sign, though. You can see this. Probably can't. We'll have to get closer to it. Here comes one of my favorite signs music called The Secret. I gotta get better with the camera work. There we go. No trucks, baby. Damn right, no trucks. No trucks, partner. Music called The Secret. Yeah, you can't talk to anyone in real life. It's always, hey, I gotta go, but they want. Well, yeah, exactly. It's as soon as yeah, I listen to them patiently at times, and then, dude, as soon as it's my turn in the conversation, half of them immediately they're looking at their phone, and then they're trying to figure out how to extricate themselves from the situation, right? Which is fine. I mean, look, I understand that part of it, and on some level, I talk to folks based on being trained to do so, but then I do like to keep my pulse on just exactly where these people are, and how they're interfacing with the dystopia, and it's not looking good, man. Not looking good, but oh well. I'm tougher than that. The fella bringing the little Debbies. Boy, how many little Debbies have I eaten in my life? Fucking hundreds of has to be hundreds of thousands. I mean, how could it not be? What's up, Thunder Chicken? Good to see you, bro. Yep, no truck. Got that right. That's right. That's Benton's sign now. Boy, I'm glad I can't. I'm glad I'm not healthy enough to drive a truck anymore. Lord knows I'd be doing that right about if I hadn't hit the THCO and if I was still capable, right? Thank God I'm not. Nuba, last 3 pot dealers found out I was flat. Fiat? What flat? I don't know. I'm behind on something. Yeah, exactly. My neighbor does that every day. I listen to his aches and pains, complaints, but as soon as I start talking, I gotta go. Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's person A using person B for person A's own gratification, right? And me and Big L are become decent friends, and there's times when I'm just shooting my mouth off and I'm going on these long jags, but I also listen to him at times. I can now if I'm excited and I really have a momentum going, it is difficult for me to not just rapid fire respond to things, but at times I am able to shut the fuck up, and that's on the phone. I'm way better in person. That's on the fucking phone, man. I am able to shut the fuck up and listen. Why? Because I like when people listen to me. So clearly, why wouldn't it be a give and take? I just get to talk all the time. I don't think I would want friends like that. What the heck? Now this is a little different, based on the medium itself. I'm talking about more like somebody who has my phone number, and there's some IRL relationship, right? All right, Thunder Chicken going down to the lake for sunrise. Sounds lovely, sir. Thunder Chicken living his best life. How about that? Ha. Appreciate the comment. Did I run Slow Boy off? I might have ran Slow Boy off. That happens. God bless the USPS. Yeah, man. No kidding. Is that a thing? Is it just you can just mail all the pots you want through the mail nowadays? I guess I know people do it. I guess I'm just suspicious myself. Hey, what's up, Gary? Mr. Baxter. Good to see you, sir. I was not in the headspace to really properly digest your email yesterday. So, and I forgot this morning. I got to start writing things down, man. My memory is just fucking shot. Yeah, I should have done that this morning, Gary. I still have time. Oh, good, Slow Boy. Well, I'm just shooting my mouth off half the time anyway. I do like to shoot my mouth off. Maybe you do too. See, maybe we have that in common. That's a good point, Stephen. I agree, Mr. Crumley. Well, and women, by the way, don't, and I can't say women collectively. A lot of women don't really get credit for their toughness. But a lot of women, very, very tough people. very tough individuals. Lots of ladies, certainly. Best life, sure. I actually miss being a homeless traveling vagabond. The fuck was I thinking trying to build a life in this realm? Well, and not everybody has to be doomer to the level I am, right? Of course it's great. Of course there's many upsides and benefits to whatever Under Chicken's up to. And I know those are jokes, but like it's funny because it's true on some level, right? I would never ever suggest that people live the way I lived, right? It was there were many drawbacks, and it worked for me at the time, right? And some part of me does well, and I may very well end up back there. I don't know. Like, who knows? It's kind of out of my hands in a way, but 20K in a lab, what the hell? You guys are balling. Well, and then part of this is just for whatever reason I've never really figured out how to make a lot of fiat, even though I've been early enough to the game many times when, like I had $8,000 when Bitcoin was $35. I knew about not 35,000, not 3,500, not 350, $35. I knew about Bitcoin when it effectively had no value because I used to be a computer nerd. And I just don't think my brain is set up for that. Like, hey, let's drop $1,000 into this thing. And, I do like to gamble. So, if I just had viewed it as gambling, but I really don't think that way. It doesn't, I don't know, man. I don't think it's in the cards for me. Yeah. Winter walkabout. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think my health, it would be good for me overall to just go back to the lots of walking every day. I'm sure. Oh, they're coming into work. Let me get out of the way. I don't want to be. Now I'm the Walmart greeter. I don't want to greet them. Most of them are grumpy enough that they have to come in this early. So get out of the way. See, considerate. Benton's considerate of his fellow human. I don't know, man. Nuba says he's in the process of becoming homeless traveling vagabond. Well, I did it deliberately, although some of it was out of necessity because I was beginning to have, even more difficulty functioning in society. But I don't think it's a coincidence that when I transitioned and dropped into that lifestyle and dropped out of the workforce, so-called, that was on the heels of 08, 09, right? The collapse, the financial crisis, the global financial crisis. Damn, $50,000 robbed from stores. Wow. Things have certainly changed as far as the homeless vagabonding. I'm sure it's still possible, though. Sure, it's still possible. $3.29 was actually $3.30. If you think about it, just $3.29.9. That's a trick, right? Gotta have that 9 in there. What other product do we purchase and it's delineated in 3 digits after the period? Oh, no kidding. Yeah, slow boy. Most ways of making fiat are immoral. I couldn't agree more, actually. In fact, I had a bum strike up a conversation with me. Well, he asked me if it was 7 yet, so I already know he's trying to get some booze. But then he's trying to act like he's not banned from all the local places that will sell him beer, and I already know he wants me to go in there and buy him beer because he's banned. And then, we had a little chit chat, and then at the end, he's wanting me to go get him a King Cobra, and I'm like, no, man, I almost drank myself to death a year ago. I can't go in there. No, I'm not going in there and buying alcohol. I would have gave him the money, by the way. I asked him, you got any money? I would have gave him the money. It's weird. It's like, to me, it's like whatever he does with the money is on him, but I'm not going to go in there and buy it for him. This is already a bad sign that he can't go in any store and buy alcohol. Think about that. Like, he was on a bicycle. There's got to be a store somewhere that he could bike to. Yeah, they do, actually. They do have Walmart greeters in some of the places. A lot of them are special people. Special people. I remember one time, I've told this story before, but it was during the pandemic, and this black lady, I guess she got upset about something, man. I don't know what it was. And I had, on my way in, I had, greeted the greeter. I could just tell she was special, meaning, special needs or whatever. I call them special people. And you just tell, man, sweet as could be, good-hearted. And so I'm leaving, and this lady's just going off on her, man. And I just kind of sidled up to her, and I just sort of, lowered my voice. I was like, she's special, right? And then she kind of, I could tell, like, because she still had her emotion and her momentum going. And then I just repeated. I said, she's special, right? And then I think it clicked in. It's like, oh, she's standing there yelling at a, special needs, and one of Jerry's kids, effectively. Like, let's not yell at the Jerry's kids if we can help it. I don't think she caused the problem. She just happens to be here where you can yell at her. Right? Not you, her. Anyway, I gotta get that. As much as I try, I'm not able to break those forms of speaking, saying you when I don't actually mean you. Yeah, man. I think it's all about the outdoor thunder chicken, and I'm not a grower, but just I have had some exposure to. I've been on farms and stuff here and there, but yeah, give me that Southern Oregon outdoor, man. That's what I'm all about. Not anymore because I haven't been having any. But yeah, and looks like the government's most likely going to ban all the alt cannabinoids. I'm stocked up on the THCO for now, which again I also don't recommend to anybody. But THCO goes hard, Jack. Then my dad, I've been trying to get my dad to come up here and visit. My dad has a vehicle that, a good working vehicle. He's got enough money to come visit. My dad has, I don't know, man. So I talked to him last week about coming to visit, and I knew he would procrastinate to some extent. So then he was making it sound like he was going to contact me. He was basically implying that he was going to come visit like early this week. Well, already I'm like, man, this dude's just going to he's going to completely blow this off. And so I texted him yesterday afternoon and just, man, the back and forth. And I hate going off on my dad. I hate being mean to my dad, man. And I certainly don't. Well, the spirit of wrath showed itself to some extent, I must say, regrettably. But, and then it's funny, he called me like right as I started my third meal of the day. And, with whatever my issues are, eating while I'm upset, or if I become upset while I'm eating or around mealtime, very bad for the digestion. So, as the results of which showed themselves this morning. I think that's as graphic as I need to get about that. But, and eventually I just told him, I said, man, I don't need to see you. I said, I don't have a son, but I would imagine that if I did, like, I would probably want to at least visit with that person, while the person was still here, and then he cannot help himself from going into the problem solving. And of course he's attempting to repress, and he's attempting to be in a delusional state about the realities of my situation. I mean, it's obvious, right? And so his way of coping is to immediately loop into the problem solving. And I'm just like, stop problem solving, stop problem solving, stop problem solving. Like, what are you doing? It's nuts, man. So finally I just said, man, don't come. Like, because for some reason it's 2023 and this guy claims to be on a minute plan. And so I said, listen, I don't know what this is, man. It's 2023. Pretty much everybody can call whoever in the hell they want and talk as long as they want. So I don't know, man. Maybe figure it out and call me. And then he wants to explain when and how he's going to have the money to go buy the minutes. I said, man, here's how I'll know you have minutes and you're calling me. My phone will say your name because you'll be calling me. I don't fucking miss me with that shit, man. It's like he's a little kid or something. It's just bizarre. And I could tell at a certain point that in his mind, he's like, I'm still a little kid and he's still my dad, right? As far as being in the position of guiding and, trying to mold me into something. And I'm like, look, man, I'm smarter than you. I'm more capable than you. I'm better equipped to deal with these things. So how are you going to put yourself in a position above me with respect to these matters? Like, it doesn't even make sense. And I'm such a direct communicator. Like I just say it directly, you know. It's like what? And I said, man, you really didn't give me any. And yeah, does this sound like some sort form of resentment or whatever? Yeah, maybe there's still a little resentment left. I'd like to think I've dealt with most of it, but I don't even think it's resentment. I think I've accepted long ago that I grew up, that we all, for the most part, grew up in an environment of complete ignorance. Nobody knew anything. Even my college-educated father effectively knew nothing. I mean, let's call it what it is. And I can't really expect him to know anything as a result. But when I'm telling him, hey, man, uh, you know, don't try to fix my issues because you can't anyway, uh, the whole thing's nuts. And it's actually, dude, I'm tough as nails. Whatever I'm dealing with these, whatever we want to call it, there's certain words we could use. That's fine, but I'm tougher than whatever this is, like way tougher. This is a nothing burger on some level, but it is a real thing that manifests. It does limit me in certain ways. So what? But mentally, this is nothing for me. What's way harder for me is dealing with these folks, such as my father, who are just unable to get over themselves. Their internal space, like Unslaved talks about, is most likely already so chaotic. They don't have the tools to deal with a situation like this. But my mom does. She wanted to go down those paths initially of the problem solving, but then I told her directly in a nice way exactly why that was never going to work, and it annoys the fuck out of me. So pretty please with sugar on top, knock it the fuck off. She's been able to do that. Why can't he? I just don't get it. Meanwhile, I'm just coming from not the Bible, but I'm coming from, I do think it is important to honor my mother and my father, to the best of my ability, which means to be a good son on some level, which is like, hey man, I know his tendency is to isolate, and especially now that he has his girlfriend, I know they're up each other's asses all day long. Meanwhile, hey, listen to this, man. And I know, well, and then let's get deep with the connections. Let's get deep with the connections. Because I've talked about my father having, oh, and by the way, I sent my channel, I gave him the info about my channel, and he's not up this early, but he might see this later. It's possible. I mean, who even knows? But so since I've talked about, I understand Talcott to a great deal because I've necessarily had to figure out my father's psychology to some extent in order to even have this fucking version of a terrible, it's not terrible, but to even have this version of a chaotic relationship, arguably. What's up, Sunshine Time? Good to see you. I've done as much work as I can to have any sort of relationship with him. Believe me, it's not to his credit that we're on good terms. Now, he certainly has, obviously he's had to participate or it couldn't have happened, but it's mostly been me. I mean, let's be serious. But so I think I figured something out. I had an epiphany where, so what I did and what both of my sisters did is we brought these romantic partners, well, our significant others of the opposite sex, by the way, just to make that clear. So, I was bringing whatever gal I was dating or married to, I was bringing them around. And then same with my sisters, whatever fella they were with. So on some level, in order to keep up his own self-image and, keep up appearances and save face, maybe he didn't want to be around most of these people, but he more or less was forced to potentially, right? Even if he liked the person, right? He probably liked my girlfriends and wives on some level, but more of the being forced to be around them, right? Well, I'm not forced to be around some random old broad that my dad's decided to cohabitate with. And I don't have no kids. It's a different relationship. So I think a lot of times he has such an immature, infantile, emotional makeup, arguably. Same thing with Talcott, very infantile emotionalism, and we see it comes out, right? My father's comes out. So I can see some version of him allowing resentment to build up, and then, oh, well, I had to deal with their significant others all these years. Well, they've got to deal with mine. No, I do not. I never met the previous one. And in fact, I only tolerated the second one just out of some sort of regard for my father, right? Meanwhile, My dad preached his entire life about how he was a one-man woman and would never cheat and all this stuff. Soon as his dad died, the famous Benton, right? As soon as my famous ancestor died, my father, I guess, no longer felt like he needed to keep up appearances, uh, and just had no problem having an affair, right? This man who had preached all of these things his whole life, and talked about, and when I was with my girlfriend, we talk about I was shacking up and all this. Meanwhile, here he is shacking up. Well, who cares? But I understand that the reason why he's not able to come visit me is because on some level he needs that broad to approve it, and he's trying to please her, which is an impossibility. It's an impossibility. Trying to align those planets to where everything is going to be that perfect send off, almost like a movie where she's sending him off on his trip, right? And I told him that about my health issues. I said, because he was like, wow, I didn't realize it was that urgent. I said, man, I've been sick for over a year, right? Like, what are you even talking about? I've been dealing with this for over a year. No, but I'll get into that because he kind of is. Gary Baxter wants to know if my father's still a JW. Yes and no, Gary Baxter. I'll get into that shortly. Meanwhile, dude, if I didn't understand certain things about myself, and there was just somebody who could observe me over time and just tell me a bunch of things about myself, yeah, would it hurt? Would it be disorienting? Would I be like, gosh, dang? Yeah, I would, but I would still want to know. Just like when I was staying in the Salvation Army downtown Austin, there was two Jasons that had been there for a long time. I overheard some people that I was cool with talking about Jason, but I thought they meant the other Jason, right? And eventually, here's how they cleared up which Jason was which. No, the one who talks in his sleep. I was like, I'm the Jason that talks in his sleep? Well, I don't want to be the Jason that talks in his sleep. Too bad, I am. And I know, by the way, I know I talk in his sleep, but I didn't realize everybody knew I talked in my sleep. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, isn't it better for me to know that? Isn't it better for me to know that? But then, where was it with the pop stuff? Let me see. Oh, so in his mind, I know how, and this shows how programmed the conservatives are and the people who believe in American nationalism. And I could see it, like, I could just see it in his thinking. I'm like, man, you think it's like a movie. Like in a movie scene, where I'm on my deathbed, you get contacted, and then you show up right before I pass, and everything is made right, and then now I get to peacefully go off, to the afterlife. I said, that shit don't happen, man. It's not gonna happen. And let's say it does happen. We just had a fake pandemic, and how many motherfuckers did not get to have their loved ones at their bedside? Are you really telling me, sir, that there couldn't be a new variant of concern and another lockdown? And God forbid I actually lose consciousness in public. At what point am I going to have to tattoo DNR on my forehead? I'm not even joking. So God forbid something happens to me and I wake up in a hospital at the wrong time and he can't come see me anyway. He's like, oh, yeah, I didn't. It's like, yeah, I know you don't think that way, sir. That's my value. That's my function, is I got the shit figured out on some level. Listen to me. Oh, but do you think anybody listens to me out here? Hell no. What could I possibly know about anything? What could I possibly know about anything? But no, he's not. He doesn't practice anymore, Gary. But I'm pretty sure he was going to the Kingdom Hall over time, which I have no problem. I mean, do whatever you want. Who cares? But the mask and the jab is what finally. Because I've been telling him for years what I think about the JWs, and he was slowly over time beginning to accept some of the pedo and the child, and I said the P word, but he was accepting that the organization was very harmful with respect to preying on children. But then that can be denied and repressed, and he can be in a delusional state about all of those things, certainly. But it was the mask and the jab that got him, because he wanted to go to the Kingdom Hall at a certain point, and they would not let him in the building because of the mask. And he was like, can you believe that? I said, yeah, of course I can believe that. It's Benito Mussolini's helicopter hand. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania is a corporation. It's part of the corporate structure, right? It serves, if this is Satan's kingdom, and I'm not trying to get religious, but if that's what this is, then of course it's a part of that. What are you talking about? course it is. How could it not be? So meanwhile, they know in some of these, not everywhere is America, not everywhere is Arkansas. So in a corporation like Walmart, it's across the board. See, nationwide, Walmart has the same policies more or less, with some derivation locally. Some. So of course, this corporately organized so-called religion, of course, it requires a mask across the board, and of course, it pushes the jab. How could it not? It has to. Why? Because that's its nature, Mr. Bill. That's its nature. How can it go contrary to its nature? It can't. It cannot do anything that runs contrary to its nature. There you go. I disagree. Musical is a secret. I don't view that as a mistake. It had no choice. Now, is it going to harm? Has it harmed, and will it continue to harm the actual organization? Of course it will. Good, by the way. Good, by the way. And I'm just picking on your vernacular, so please don't think I'm picking on you, because I'm not. But they had no choice. The organization literally had no choice, in my view. It had no move. It played itself. They played themselves. Yep. They can't get their culted up members to return after 3 years. Exactly. But again, they had no choice, because they are part of that corporate structure and unable to continue to reap the benefits of being part of that corporate structure. The organization must necessarily play ball. It has no choice. And if it then reveals itself to some of its members, meanwhile, how many of them didn't come back based on what they went through in their personal lives? And how many of them struggled and were struggling in their personal lives and realized, oh, this organization won't actually help me unless I'm showing up to the building and behaving the way everybody else is behaving, right? And like trying to do all this over Zoom calls ain't really getting it done now, is it? Oh, Z's live, by the way. I'll be wrapping up soon. Here comes the sheriff, but that ain't got nothing to do with me, I suspect. It would be interesting if I would love for somebody to actually call the popo, right? No, he's going on by. I do like this town. I wasn't waving you down, sir. I was just saying hi. I do like this town because the cops generally observe me and just continue on about their day. I do like that. Although you never know. Sometimes they like to do a drive-by and circle back. So I may actually turn on the. He may just not know that the Walmart's not open yet. I mean, I do have a certain structure of paranoid thinking, but you never know. He might be approaching, which will be fun for it to happen, right? No, he's even better. He might be patrolling. Even better. I do like to see the popo patrolling, as long as they're not interfering with people who are not committing crimes, right? And hey, let's just say, because look, I've had the cops called on me many times for just being in public, not breaking the law. Hey, maybe somebody did call him, and he just drove by and was like, well, obviously that guy's not committing any crimes, so. Which is the way it's supposed to work. Versus how many videos do they see where they're like, well, we got a call, so we have to do this. We got a call, so we have to. No, they don't. I've seen numerous videos where the police just don't show up for 2 hours, but they got a call. This idea that we got a call, so we have to show up. Nonsense. Complete fucking nonsense. Meanwhile, these people think I'm recording them. I'm recording myself. Right? It's a phone, y'all. I'm not recording the people driving by. But what if I was? Who cares? I really can't stand here and record people driving by. Oh, he's recording our vehicles. Well, what if I was? What am I going to do with a recording of your vehicle, people? Like, what good could that? Oh, yeah, that had to be. Somebody called the fucking popo on me. That's all that could be. That's all that could be, based on that guy driving through and checking me out. And then he pretended to patrol the parking lot, and then he left. And meanwhile, he's counting. You think the city's coming out here for this? Hell no. These city cops don't give a fuck. I like that, man. They leaving people alone. But hey, gingerbread doughboy, because as fat as the city cops can be, the county's typically even fatter. Actually, we don't have many overweight cops in this town, now that I think about it. But the county cops are fucking fatted up hogs, man, ready for the slaughter. He'd love to get me up against the wall with my legs spread, wouldn't he? Yeah, copy my feel. Mm-hmm. Well, let's wrap it up. I got about 20 minutes. I'm going to go in there and do my shopping. Of course, I'll be live later between around 9:30 or 10. 9:30 or 10. Not really sure what we're going to talk about. I'm glad I got to get some of this off my chest. Thank you all for listening. It is helpful because, especially after talking to Pops last night, just it did not go well. As much patience as I've developed over time, I would rather look and see. Again, it's back to the saving face, or presenting a certain image, and his desire presumably to be seen as a certain type of person and a certain type of father. I wouldn't have a problem if I contacted the man last week and I broached the topic of him visiting. If he just said, "Hey man, I don't want to come see you right now," I would have no problem with that. That would be better for me than, if I do have undiagnosed autism, having to, go through this whole rigmarole where, okay, now 5 days later, I'm more or less certain that he doesn't want to come visit me. But he could be guilt tripped. Could he be guilt tripped and browbeaten into coming to see me? Sure he could. Of course he could. I don't want nothing to do with that. Why would I? What am I going to have a good time? How am I going to have a good time? Yeah, are we about to see a sovereign citizen expose? Hell, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Oh man, I wish I recorded my last cop interaction, and to me it was such a nothing burger that I didn't even bother to keep the recording. But I wish I had now. 'Cause I did very effectively deal with the popo. Although some people will just not believe me. Fake Defunct says his parents are the same images. All they are worried about. Oh, these boomers, man, and not all of them. We got good. I like my boomers here. I like our boomers here on the channel. I'm saying the bozo normie boomers, how they look in the eyes of others. Yeah, exactly. Which is why. What do you see from so many of these boomers? Their Facebook profile picture is them as a teenager or them as like 30 years old. Yeah, I could put pictures of me when I'm 30 on here too, right? Or 35 or whatever. 38, probably the peak of my attractiveness. Why? I don't look like that anymore, man. Why would I have now? I will have me as I look now, and then I might have an old picture and be like, hey, this is obviously what I used to look like, if y'all are interested. But at one point, my dad, his Facebook profile pic, and I'm not on Facebook, but I guess I just happened to see it, was like him playing in a band when he was like a teenager. Like, what is this, man? You're 60, bro. This is false advertising. And then I just happened to see his dating profile at a certain point, accidentally. And it said entrepreneur. Well, yeah, that was true at one time. You ain't no entrepreneur, partner. You is not an entrepreneur, does not describe you. Okay? That's a fucking lie. It's like me just making up a job. You think I couldn't get broads if I just told them lies about the life I'm leading? Good God, man. What is this? Let's not lie to the broad. And I'm not saying he's still doing that, but at one point he was. 12 years ago, got clean, never worried about image again. There you go, Fake Defunct. Good for you, man. Good for you. And by the way, I was already like this to some extent. Now that I know I'm most likely getting to check out of here pretty soon, it's just making me worse as far as just telling people like it is and letting them deal with it. Hey, deal with it. I was made to deal with it, right? People, and I say this to folks sometimes, look, hey, I got to deal with y'all. Y'all got to deal with me, Jack. And yeah, I understand a lot of these folks out here don't like dealing with me. Well, guess what? I don't like dealing with them either. So what? That's a preference. We all got preferences. Here come the Queen, by the way. She got a license plate on the front of her car, say the Queen. There she go. There go the queen with a blacked out. Hey, that's got to be a black person or a person of color, right? Has to be. Not necessarily. I guess it could be a white broad, but got a plate on the front that says the queen, because remember, Arkansas don't have front plates, and a blacked out rear plate, and then going to stop by the popo and saying, why are you pulling me over? Because they can't read your license plate, lady. What kind of person going to be outraged and indignant by getting pulled over by the popo? And then don't everybody know not to smoke out, not to put the smoky lens over the license plate? Don't everybody know that? What's up, Capricorn? I thought everybody knew that by now. I wonder why they're getting pulled over. Benton don't get pulled over. I ain't been pulled over in a long time. Pulled over. Breaking her neck. She breaking her neck looking at me. She's from Arizona. Broke her neck. Just go out in public and do something. Do anything out in public that deviates from the norm and watch these people break their neck. Broke her neck looking at me. Now, some of it is, I look a little less ghastly in person. Really. I mean, it really doesn't translate through the phone and the video and the picture. I'm halfway decent looking, and especially compared to Arkansas. These Arkansas broke down motherfuckers, right? I'm not saying I'm good looking. I'm just saying compared to these broken down bozos, I'm halfway decent looking in the physical. But I don't think that's why she was breaking her neck necessarily. I remember the old days when really we wasn't paying that much attention to each other overall. I mean, what even is this? Yeah. Believable. I want to say unbelievable. Believable. Believable. But shout out to Z. I'm not trying to take his numbers. Not that I am, but, certainly go check out Zetetic Warrior if you're so inclined. And now it's funny how my nose, I guess I really don't want you to go check him out because my nose starts itching. And now it's like, I don't really believe that apparently. Although I thought I did. Funny how we lie to ourselves sometimes. Because I don't generally suffer from an itchy nose that I'm aware of. Thanks, man. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that shows you the state of health of the average person. Is I look pretty decent as far as my health. Compared to these people, I look like I'm pretty fucking healthy and I'm on, approaching my deathbed, right? Can't even maintain my body weight. Now, could I eat enough food to go back up to 140 pounds? Yeah, I probably could. But you know what my intestines and my stomach and the level of bloating that I experience, it's just not worth it. The way I'm eating now, I feel okay as far as my bloating. And again, I now sound like a female. Imagine being 48 and from Arkansas and socialized to be hyper masculine. Here I'm talking about bloating, for God's sakes. But yeah, my stomach is bloated to some extent, more or less 24 hours a day. And, it's not too bad. But guess what? If I go eat enough food to put on a little weight, it's miserable. Why? Why go through that? For what? For what ends? But yeah, could I go slaughter sheep and goats somewhere and go live on a goat farm or whatever and offer my services and potentially be restored to some measure of health? Yeah, probably. But why do I have to do everything? No man is an island. None of this is available to me. No, and look, I'm not. And the good people. Here's what happens when I talk like this. Most people just continue to blame me, right? And say, well, get your shit together, hippie, or whatever version, whatever that is. But then the good-hearted people, like Rob Cleveland, internalize and express their desire to help and then are bemoan the fact that they can't actually help me. No, I'm talking about the people who have access to resources that could specifically help me will never do anything, and that's okay. I don't really want to go live on a goat farm or a fucking sheep farm. I'm from the city, y'all. Now, do I understand that most likely I could use my noggin to figure out some kind of way to come up with enough fiat where I could access some physical piece of property where I could have my own animals and have them slaughtered and all of this and, butchered, and I could, yeah, sure, of course. So that I can remain in a dystopia for even longer? Are you kidding me? So yeah, I understand that I could do those things, But then if I did, what is the end result of that? It's an extended stay in the nightmare dystopia. No thanks. I'm finna get up out of here. And that would have been a great place to leave it, but I have 12 more minutes before I'm allowed to enter the Walmart and do my shopping. So we almost wrapped. Thank you, Fake Defunct. Now, while I don't necessarily want or need people to agree with me, it is nice to know at sometimes that I am making sense and some people are picking up what I'm putting down. So thank you for that. Disagreement can be more fun in a certain way, but only if it's genuine. Sometimes I feel people disagreeing just to be disagreeable, which is a thing. But thank you, Sunshine Time. I know I'm onto something, right? But yeah, yeah, yeah. What I mean, it's mystifying. Many of these things. Mystified. I'm mystified. You know, the days of me, mounting my steed and galloping along the fucking prairie and shooting a buffalo or a bison and then consuming the entire animal with my tribe and my community. That shit don't exist, y'all. And when the time comes that someone can say, yes, Benton, there it is over there. There's the place you can go, Benton, and your tribe's over there, and the animals are over there, and you can go kill and eat the entire animal, and we'll do that together, and we'll have a feast. Until that day comes, meanwhile, I might still choose not to, right? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But until that day comes, what are we talking about? We're talking about people telling me to go in the grocery store, some of them, and eat raw meat or lightly cooked meat, potentially. But then if that doesn't fix me, it'll just be that I didn't do something correctly, that I used salt, or that oh, well, you went to the wrong store, or you bought the wrong stuff from the wrong person. See, because the person telling me to do these things cannot be wrong in their own mind. So if what they're telling me to do hasn't worked, by the way, because I have done that, or I try it and it doesn't work, it's I did something wrong. Nonsense. Hot garbage. I ain't here for it. Good gravy. Good gravy. SMH. Shout out to the chat. My spleen's starting to hurt. I'm getting a little too worked up. Yeah, my organs hurt when I get worked up. And like when I yelled at my dad yesterday, which I don't regret it, by the way, but I regret what it does to my physicality, and it stirs my gallbladder up. I can tell my gallbladder's all inflamed as a result, just of the wrath, right? The unleashing of the wrath, the spirit of wrath. Now, and I'll be fine. It'll go back to normal, right? It'll go back. Oh, by the way, all those supplements I took, those so-called supplements, all those herbs I took for months and months and months on end, which I mainly took so that I could continue to work as a truck driver, at least for the time being. Well, guess what? Benton treated his own gallbladder quite effectively, y'all. Quite effectively. And at one point, my gallbladder improved to the point where I could then begin to experience very painful and gallbladder attacks that caused me to have nausea for hours on end on a daily basis. That was an improvement, is how bad my gallbladder was. Now I'm to a stage where I really don't have any of that, but the gallbladder does get, I can tell that it's inflamed and agitated. I can just tell because I've been dealing with these issues. And now I'm starting to have some abdominal pain, which I'm pretty sure is the old spleen, although it could be the pancreas as well, right? Yeah, but Thunder Chicken, see, according to this one person, if I put salt on the meat, then that's why I'm 115 pounds. See, it's not that I may be very well ate up with something that the medical system calls a word starting with a C. And how many times have we heard this? And I want to leave y'all on this. although I got 7 more minutes. I'm trying to make this coincide so I can walk in there. How many times have we heard a story of some guy in his 60s or 50s or whatever, and he's just been living his life, punching the clock, taking care of his family, doing what needed to be done, and then finally, and it's one of these people that'll never go to the doctor, right? So then finally, the man gets so sick, he goes to the doctor, and everybody's like, damn. Then they know it's serious because this dude won't go to a doctor. And then the doctor, does all the tests, and it's always some version of, he's all ate up with cancer. I don't know how he's been walking around all this time. Well, I'm not saying that's what I have, but I'm probably one of them. See, I'm probably one of them, and nobody's, just like Yuri Bezmenov said, I could take an American to the Soviet gulags and say, hey man, this is happening in your country, and they won't believe it until the boot crashes their balls. Well, same thing with old Benton. On some level, some of these folks, like my dad, he's never truly going to believe it until we actually reach that stage where, whether it's an autopsy or whatever, or it is the very end, and it does become clear that I've been ate up with something this whole time, right? And probably for damn near a decade or more, right? No, I should not have my gallbladder taken out. That is terrible advice. That's some of the worst things. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Benton is leaving this place the same way he came in. That is horrible advice. And most people that have their gallbladder removed, they end up worse. And in fact, I have very effectively dealt with my gallbladder issues to where it's really not a thing for the most part. But yeah, these emotional disturbances, they do affect my organs. And how can we talk about the mind-body connection? How can we be so-called, and you might be just gassing me up a little bit, slow boy, which is fine. If it's just a little fuel for the tank, that's fine. And I don't hold grudges. And even if you really mean that, that's fine. You're still welcome, and I won't hold nothing against you. But that's terrible advice. I would never advise anybody to have their gallbladder out. Of course, I wouldn't advise anybody in health matters anyway. Why would I? But I'm keeping my gallbladder. Why? Because the gallbladder serves a function. And guess what? Old Benton still has a functioning gallbladder. But if I'd gone to doctors 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago, they would have happily removed my motherfucking gallbladder. Right? Of course they would. Of course they would. I'm keeping mine. How can we talk about God and creation, and then but God put something there if one is willing to believe in God, and I'm not saying one should or one does, but if one speaks or thinks in those terms, how could that be in my physical body? But we can just take it out, and Benton's complete. Not only is Benton fine, he's better. Bullshit. But by the way, look at the loop into problem solving. Oh, Benton mentioned gallbladder problems. We'll just take it out. Oh, okay, well, there's no reason to talk about a gallbladder then. Or perhaps I'll use my own intelligence and deal with it myself. Partner. Thunder Chicken has a friend with stage 4 cancer, shrunk to growth over the last 6 months. Yeah, man, that's fine, Thunder Chicken. That's fine and good. Let's just say that could happen. Great. That has nothing to do with the man's pancreatic function. His pancreatic function is not going to return if it's been ruined like mine has. If he reaches a stage where his body can no longer properly break down the fats in his food without enzymes, without consuming enzymes, can the cancer shrink? Of course it can. When the cancer goes away, the pancreas does not come out and play. That's why pancreatic cancer is oftentimes considered the worst form, because even if the person beats it, the fact that the pancreas no longer works beats the person in the long run, and there ain't no way around that. That's the reality of the situation. I can't function in a delusional state. Thanks for watching. Bye.